I've been saying a lot recently that I think we're in the era of the personal app. And that's because the barrier to entry to creating software has gotten so low that you don't necessarily need to go pick something off the shelf anymore when you can just go build it. And I wanted to show you an example of something that I've been working on here and there over the last month or so. And I really have not spent a ton of time on it. And it's gotten really slick, and it's just completely changed the way that I handle my personal tasks. So I had started off with a handful of different ideas, and I was going to build a few different applications. And then eventually I landed on this idea of a personal dashboard. And the working title for me here is self-control. I think it's kind of fun little play on words. And so one thing I'm doing that I think is really, really cool here is I have this smart scale at home. Ever since I've lost like 35 pounds or so, about what would it be, about 6 years ago now, I've gotten fairly obsessive about not getting back to that space again. And so I've got this smart scale, but it's just like a one-off app, but it also connects with the Apple Health app. And so then I've got this other tool that I paid a couple bucks for, and it basically just like dumps it into, it hits an API endpoint on this app. And this is something that I really want to dig into, is this idea of the API, because I think there's multiple layers here. Because on one hand, I can build this app and make it really nice and easy to interact with. This is a Vite and React application. I've got Neon DB behind it all. And so there's the health portion of it, but then there's also the task portion of it. Now, previously, I had this very custom system and way of working, and it was all in Notion. And I've worked this way for years and years. I mean, probably 4 or 5, it probably goes back about 5 years or so. And I've essentially planned my personal life in about like just weekly sprints, essentially. So I have a list of tasks every week. I try to get them done within a week. And it helps me think about on Monday morning, what am I actually going to be able to accomplish this week? And then I give myself a rating based on how many I get done. But the goal is not, I mean, the goal is 100% would be amazing, but we get to green if we hit 75%. So that's the motivation, is I should be able to knock out 3 out of every 4 things that I think I'm going to be able to knock out. I'm a developer. I'm optimistic. And so what I've done is there's just a lot of shortcomings when you rely on a really generic tool like Notion. And so I've just like reimagined the thing. I haven't reimagined the process. I think that's the key here, is like the process was good. The actual underlying mechanism of handling the tasks in my life on a weekly basis, deferring things that come in that aren't emergencies to next week, helps me stay focused. I say what I'm going to do on Monday, and I stay focused throughout the rest of the week. Things come in and I say, all right, we're going to handle that next week. And so and then basically what happens is at the end of the week, and I'm creating the next week, there are a handful of recurring tasks that tend to go on there, but I usually try to keep those to a minimum. Like household chores, for example, don't go on there. These are things that there might be a period of time where I want to do the same thing every week. Like one thing is I try to listen to a new music record every week. So that pops up because it's not something I have to do. It's something I want to do. And so, yes, I moved it here, but now by having this personal app, I've got the benefit of just being, the workflows can be completely custom. And so these now get marked when they get carried over. We get this little yellow border. We can go into each of them, and I can add notes as things change. I can attach files to notes. I can mark them as complete. I can also mark that I'm going to skip them. And so if I'm in the middle of the week, I'm like, look, the time to get this done has passed. It's not going to happen. I can mark it. and we can move on from there. But one thing that I have really uncovered here is that I think I had a theory going into this, which was the concept of the personal app is really powerful because I can build these really custom workflows so that I don't have to sacrifice my way of working and my productivity just to not have to build something. Instead, I can take a little bit of time. I can build something that, one, looks great, and two, is exactly what I need it to be so that I very quickly make up that time. And the other thing that I've found that I didn't expect as much is that the UI is great, and we can certainly customize the UI a ton, and I love this. This looks so much nicer than Notion to me, but it's not always in front of me, right? I would have to, I mean, I could develop an app, sure, but I think the power in the future here is really going to be about the APIs. And so what I've found myself recently using OpenClaw quite a bit. And so what I can do now is I have built an API and then had the API documented so that I can have my AI assistant read that documentation and understand how to interact with this app. So let me pull up this guy. This assistant's name is Bill Harding, after the character from the 90s film Twister, and Bill loves to end a lot of his messages with tornado emojis, which is spectacular. But anyways, yeah, so we got chat going here, but I can say how many tasks have I completed this week? All right, and he gives me a list of 3 that have been completed. Now, even no matter what I do here with the UI, trying to figure out which tasks I'm going to work next is a whole other thing. I would have to classify them ahead of time, or I'd have to give them some thought, or I could spin up a custom agent that would do some of that work for me. But I already have this AI assistant who has access to all of these tasks. So when I come into this scenario, and Bill here says, you want to knock anything out before the end of the day, I can say, sure, which ones seem quick. And then that agent will hit the API, and it will be able to then reason, okay, I'm going to infer based on the title and description of these things, which ones would be pretty quick, and then I'm going to give you some suggestions back. And now it's not always perfect, but it's great. So what I've baked into my working routine with this assistant is that every morning when I get the list of, hey, here are your calendar appointments for the day, it's also, hey, here are 3 tasks that seem like you could probably knock these out in between other things today, get you ahead, put you in a good position to get everything done. And so here he comes back with a few suggestions. These are all honestly really good. Most of them would not take very much time at all. I should probably just do these things. But my point here really is that, yes, I think we're in this age of the personal app. And yes, I think that you should be building software that solves your unique problems. And, you can learn a ton in that process, and you can improve your productivity, because really then you don't have to mess with the things in life that are not as fun, and you can focus on the things that you really want to be doing. But what I have found and discovered in this process is that it's not just about the UI, it's about the entire experience, and it's about how all of these tools fit together with you as the orchestrator of the agents that play a part in these tools. And I think we're in a really interesting time, and I'm having a ton of fun really wiring all these things up, and excited to see where these go. But this is it today. So I hope this helps inspire you to build something, get out there, build your own personal app. Let me know what you want to see from me. I'm Sean C. Davis. I'll see you next time.